This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there. Jeff Carter and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, well, it is a Friday the 13th. And by the way, there will be no on this day because there's nothing cool about August the 13th. Kind of dull, don't you think? So anyway, Phil the Power Taylor is ready to go. And it's weird for me to do a darts player, but this guy was the darts player of all darts players. Everyone knows that darts is basically a sport that you play in pubs and in community centers and all that. But Phil Taylor made it powerful. The World Championships have been around since the 1970s, and no one completely dominated until Phil Taylor won his first title. He is 61 years old. He dominated the darts for 2 decades, winning 85 major titles and 16 world championships. Unbelievable. In fact, the BBC rated Taylor as the 10 greatest British sportsmen since the 1980s. He's the richest and most successful darts player in history. Here's how dominant he was. He won 8 straight championships from 95 to 2002. In fact, he would have had his 9th straight, but the only Canadian ever to win a world championship by the name of John Darth Maple Part beat him in the final. He got to 14 finals from 94 to 2007, including that 2003 final, which he lost to my countrymen. He reached 21 world finals overall, so he was 16. He only lost 5 world finals. That's amazing. 16 and 5 in the finals. 750 winning clip. He had 13 years of being the world number 1, including 8 in a row from 06 to 2013. Wow. And Taylor hit 11 9-dart finishes. Basically, in darts, a 9-dart, you start at 501. You have to go, what was it? Triple 20, triple 20, triple 20, making it 180. And then 180 again, 360, and then 141. Have to have a 141 finish. So Taylor would retire from pro darts after the 2018 World Championship. So he did okay and all that. He actually lived close to Eric Bristol's pub, the Crafty Cockney. And he went to Bristol's pub. And Eric Bristol would help him out. Taylor's first first major title came at the Canadian Open in 1988, being Bob Anderson. He actually qualified to be in the World Championship for the first time in 1990. He actually was a pretty much unseeded outsider. He would beat the number 6 seed Russell Stewart in the first round and would beat Cliff Lazarenko 5-0 to reach the final. He would have to meet his mentor, Eric Bristol. Bristol had dartitis since 1986, which is basically the yips, but he recovered to have his world number 1 ranking to be the top seed. Taylor crushed Bristol 6-1 to win his first world title, and then he picked up the spade. Taylor could not compete. Well, he tried to get his title back to go back to back, but he lost to Dennis Priestley, who went on to win the 91 world title. But Taylor regained the world championship in 92 by beating Mike Gregory in a tight match. Gregory actually had 6 starts to win the title, but he failed. Taylor would lose in 93 to Kevin Spielek in the second round. And in the WDC and PDC World Championship, Taylor lost to Priestley. However, Taylor would be much better off. Taylor took care of Rod Harrington in 1995 in the 95 final. Taylor and Priestley would meet in the finals in 96, 97, and 98. Taylor set the record in '98 with 6 titles. So then he had a World Championship record. He would beat Peter Manley in the '99 and 2002 finals, Priestley for a 4th time in 2000, and John Part in 2001. But Part would get his revenge, as I said, 2 years later, winning on the final set. The famous commentator, Sid Waddell, said that it was actually the fact that Phil Taylor lost 3 stone, I think about 30 pounds, I think. It actually affected Taylor's balance, and said that he was throwing off and all that. Taylor would get back the World Championship, defeating Kevin Painter in the final because of a sudden death leg. Taylor almost fouled up again. He was down 5-3 in sets and could have lost it. Anyway, he won. He kept dominating all that. In 2007, it was a tight final between him and Raymond von Barneveld, and Van Barneveld did it. So Taylor still had titles galore. He went to every World Darts Championship final between '94 and 2007 until 2008 when he lost in the quarterfinals. That was shocking. He lost to Wayne Mardell. Taylor would win his 14th World Championship, beating Raymond von Barneveld quite comfortably, even though Van Barneveld was a pretty good player. He would win at number 15, beating Simon Whitlock of Australia 7-3. Taylor crashed out of the World Championships, losing in the quarter. Didn't make the quarterfinals, losing in the second round to Dave Chisnell. Taylor would win his 16th and final World Championship in 2013, taking on Michael van Gerwen, and shocked a lot of people. It was down 4-2, and then took down van Gerwen. So in 2018, he went to his 29th World Championship appearance, which surpassed the record he held with John Lowe. He would retire after the tournament. Shockingly, he made the final but lost to Rob Cross. So he knew he was in for it. Yep, and Phil the Power Taylor had the rivalry with John Maple Part, Darth Maple. John Part won the BDO title in '94 and moved to the PDC in '97. And the first meeting in the PDC was the 2001 final, and it was one-sided. However, the 2003 World Championship was when Part took care of Taylor. And Part won the 2008 World Championship, becoming the second player after Taylor to win the tournament more than once. Taylor would beat Part 31-6 in head-to-heads. Taylor actually had this nickname the Crafty Potter in the early '90s because he had a job in the ceramic industry. But Taylor was given the nickname by a Sky Sports production manager. And came out to Snap's song The Power. Taylor and his former wife had 4 children: Lisa, Chris, Kelly, and Natalie. He supports Port Vale. He was on an episode of They Think It's All Over and kind of insulted Nick Hancock, who was a Stoke City supporter. Yeah, so yeah, he would be several appearances for Bullseye, the famous Bullseye. So yeah, he actually made an appearance in Coronation Street. He was on Question of Sport in 2012. So yeah, he set a lot of records. The World Championship. Yeah, good for him. And he made darts into something cool and coof. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do